So eventually for me, I'm gonna have to let that other job go because it's not a part of my vision, if that makes sense. It's something that it was something that I enjoyed doing. It's something that I'm good at, but it's not a part of the vision.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Dads on Purpose, the podcast. I'm your host, Josh Ashford, man, and as always, got the big homie KB. How you doing, Kev?
What up, baby? As always, I'm already ecstatic to be here on the Dads on Purpose podcast.
Yo, what y'all don't understand is we already been on this podcast like 48 minutes, so I don't know how long a podcast y'all gonna get, but we got the big homie, man.
No.
Terry, how you doing?
Slim. We got the Slim. Come on, Slim.
Mr. Homie himself, you know what I'm saying, coming to you live from the basement.
Shit.
Oh, I thought he was about to do a freestyle bait like the basement back in the day.
I got some bars too, so if we need to get there, I can get there too.
Give me a pencil so I can make a beat. You know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to tell you, I really am like this really feels good to be back on here. Because we had an episode last week with Dr. G, and she was like, so after the episode went off, we had a really dope conversation because she was really just talking to us about we kind of need to ease into the episodes and just be our authentic selves, because we do it all the time. Like I said, we've been on here 48 minutes and we just chopping it up, but everybody doesn't get to see that. And to be real with you, T, we almost stopped the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Because we were about to stop. Kev out there working 17 jobs, like Tommy off of Martin. I got a lot going on, man. And it got to the point where we could only record late at night or like early on Saturday mornings. And I was like, this ain't gonna work. And we were just like, we might need to stop this, man. And she was just like, you need to share that. Like, you need to talk to me. That's what the prompt was. So part of the reason we was chopping it up for 48 minutes, because I couldn't remember the prompt for the show. So they was like, you ain't got no prompt. But no, the topic, man, I want to talk about making hard decisions. Mm-hmm. And what it was based off of is that hard decision that Kevin and I had to make.
Yeah.
Of like, do we stop the show? Do we keep going? Well, how do we figure this out, man? And it was crazy because it was a hard decision, but I don't think it was that hard, because we kind of reminded ourselves that we told ourselves we were going to do at least 52 weeks.
Yeah. We
told ourselves we were going to do at least 52 episodes and see where we're at. The goal is to hit 100 at least.
Yeah.
But the short goal is 52. The stretch goal is 100, and then examine where we're at, man. But I really want to talk to you guys. Like, how do y'all, you know what I'm saying, as being dads, being, employees, being, influencers and all that stuff. But like, how do you guys approach making hard decisions, man? Because that's something like it ain't just, you don't want to take them lightly. You feel me?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. And you made a good point. They're hard decisions because they mean stuff to us, right? Because at the end of the day, like you said, this podcast, man, is something that y'all put y'all's all into. I've become a fan of watching it, checking in with y'all, seeing what guest is up next, man. So y'all are making an impact, and it's a hard decision because it's something that you enjoy doing, but the timing, right? Do we have the time for it? So it's tough for a reason. So that's the first thing I'll say is when you make tough decisions, generally is because you care, because it really means something to you. I make tough decisions all the time, and I know more recently I told my wife we have to be willing to say no, and not no because we don't care, or no because we don't want to attend or be a part of something. But every now and again you got to say no, because you need self-care time. You need time to get yourselves together, because you said it, Josh. I want to be my authentic self. I want to make sure. Well, you're not going to be your authentic self if you drained and you mentally just exhausted, right? So it's tough because it's like, I love it, but at the same time, like, when do we have time?
Yeah.
So usually with stuff like that, I tell you, I'm a God-fearing man, so I usually pray about it, right? I'm first thing I'm doing is being like, all right, God, I'm worn out. Like, what do I do? Like, talk to me. You know what I mean? Give me a sign of what to do. So whenever I get in those situations where I got to make a tough decision, the very first person I'm talking to is God. Then after that, you all are married. So then it's you talk to your spouse about it. You got another opinion and you're not outside of your house, but you're talking inside your house to say, look, babe, this is what I'm going through. What do you think? Get your opinion. Outside of God, your spouse is really going to have your best interest in mind when it comes to some of this stuff, right? And as busy as my life has been with just everything that I'm jumping into, the opportunities that are coming, my wife knows that a lot of stuff that I'm doing, I have a passion for it.
Yeah.
She's my biggest supporter when it comes to some of this stuff. So when I'm ready to be like, man, how am I going to work a 9 to 5, get off, cut hair, be a dad, cook dinner, you know what I mean? Spend time with the family and then still have time to be able to jump on podcasts. And if it's not a podcast, I'm dealing with, I got, a fatherhood coalition I'm a part of. I got fraternity calls that I'm, involved in. So literally my life does not end, but you got to learn how to balance it all out. So
hey, I'm gonna just say this though. I don't know if my wife told me, she was like, well, maybe it's time.
Did she really?
Yeah, she was like, maybe it's just time to end it. And I was like, I don't want to. My thing was, it wasn't even about Kev, because I was like, if Kev can't do it, I was like, I'm gonna be on the show by my damn self. Excuse me, I don't like to cuss. I was like, I'm gonna be on the show by my damn self if Kev can't be on here, because I told myself that I'm doing 52 episodes, and for me, my reasoning is different. I'm not just like trying to big myself up. In the past, I've had a problem with starting things and stopping. And when I go back in my life, bro, I can go all the way back to like Pee Wee football. Like I would start and stop. And I would like all the time. And I was like, I'm not stopping this. I was like, my goal is 52 weeks.
Where did 52 come from?
That's a year.
Oh, 52 weeks. I thought he said 52. Well, I guess I was thinking 52 episodes, but can we get that so when people watch, they don't think that I'm slow? You might.
No, I'm not, bro.
No. Okay.
You can't. Nope.
I'm gonna system shutdown. I'm being like,
no. Kev wanted to get in there, so that's what we're gonna let Kev go.
I think also what helped us was the partnership, right? Because he was like, bro, like, I don't know. And me, I'm more like, listen, forget the post, forget whatever the extra stuff that we have to do regarding the podcast. Let's just record and put it out. If we don't do nothing else, we still have to record and put it out. And so I think oftentimes, like you said, like first you have your spiritual source, then you have your spouse. But if you're working with somebody else, definitely talk to that other person, because that other person can bring that energy, can bring that thought and that hope. Because, bro, I told Josh at the beginning, like, unless he kicked me off, hey, bro, send me the link. I'm ready to go. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, but that's my heart, because I love fatherhood. I love brotherhood. I love having conversations. And this platform gives me the opportunity to be myself and to talk about something that I'm passionate about. And so I think we also have to look at the other people who are involved. And then I think I was ready to make the compromise. Like, Josh does all the editing. Doesn't make sense. Like, he does the edit. I know that stuff could be hard, difficult, time consuming. And I do a lot of the, regular posts,
social media.
And I know for me, I had in April, had an opportunity to get back to my passion, which is mentoring students and developing students. But then I also had a part-time that I'm trying to hold on to. And
told you he got 17 jobs.
And my position at the part-time, though, me being a good employee there, man, I was working Saturday through Friday, Sunday, all throughout the week at that job, and also working at a school from 8 to 4. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So it makes it hard for me to do a certain piece of it. But I was like, if we don't do nothing else, if you don't do anything else, you have to record and you have to post.
Yep.
And I think sometimes we have to weigh the value, the pros and the cons of what we're doing. Like, even me taking the position at the school to work with the students, I consulted my wife and was like, yo, what do you think? Like, and she was like, your heart, your passion, So is this something that you're willing to make a hard turn on and be in the thing that you love to do? And are you sure? And it was like one of those, don't you take that interview unless you're sure. Like, sure you sure. You know what I mean? And I had to sit back and say, okay, Kevin, either you can stay on this path and rebuild and pivot in another way, or you can get in position where you can make some even better decisions, but you're already somewhere where you don't have to do a whole lot of work, not entrepreneurial work, but passion work, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
So I had to make that decision, and it put strain on the other things that I'm involved in, right? And I think a lot of us are not afraid, but when you make a big decision like that, how does that affect everything else around you? You know what I mean? How does that affect your family? How does that affect, you being a father? How does that affect you being a good employee? Because, bro, I ain't gonna even lie. The position I'm in is a PE assistant. So with my energy and the person that I am, I'm not just gonna sit back and not be involved with the kids. So for like 6 classes back to back, I'm walking, I'm playing. So by the time I get done, bro, and then go to work for 4 hours, don't call me, don't, I'm done.
Look, Terry, I told you, Kevin, don't talk to me no more. I'll text Kevin at 8:30 in the morning. He might get back to me about like 6:30 at night.
He's busy. He's busy, so leave him alone. You already know it.
But I'm not busy, so I got time.
At what point did y'all both say, you know what? Let's work it out. We're gonna keep going. Like, what was that?
I don't know.
The next guest. But you know what? Seriously, I think it was the next guest. I think if you sometimes we have things that we're holding on to that is dead and we're trying to make it work. But what we're doing is not something that we have to make work, if that makes sense. We have people who love the platform. We have a group of people who we could call on a drop of the hat who will help or be a part of this, what we're doing. So that's not the hard part. But me, because I was ready to push back because I didn't see anything that would stop us from, bro, if we can record at 8:30, bet, let's make it happen. If we need to record at 9 o'clock, bet.
What time I go to bed?
Let's make it happen.
You're gonna have to stay up a little bit longer. I mean, here goes the thing. Y'all have such a dope platform, man. And I would say, man, so many people look at these episodes. Like you said, y'all have guests, and each guest brings something different. Yeah. And we're learning from that from the outside, right? I mean, I'm truly, as I'm watching y'all's podcast, I'm learning and taking away something from each person, man. So y'all have something good. And what I struggle with sometimes for myself is, when do I ask for help, right? When I'm so overwhelmed and making that tough decision, is like, at what point do you say, like, I know this is my baby, but I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, even for you, Josh, to say, like, I do all the editing, right? At some point, you may have to trust a student that's in school that want to learn how to edit and be like, all right, we're going to record. I know it don't sound right now, but you may get to the point where you moving and grooving and you may need some help. And I think sometimes as men, that's what we struggle. Yeah. We struggle with giving things that we're passionate about or that are our baby away to other people to help us out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think also listening for the keep going, right? Yeah. And when I said our next guest, even though we had Dr. G on as our next guest, it wasn't the interview that was like, hey, y'all need to keep going. It was what she said after the interview. Does that make sense? Yeah. I think also we need to hear praise, I guess. Would that be the right word? Praise. Yeah, no,
you do. You need to know what y'all doing is making an impact, right? I mean,
let me look up my thesaurus.
I'm like, y'all doing it well. Like, y'all have guest hosts. Like, here goes, because y'all have built such a dope platform that, again, not that we want you not to be here, but let's just say one of y'all couldn't make it. Y'all built enough relationships where somebody can step on as a guest host for that one time if needed, right?
I like that plug, bro. I like that
plug. Look, listen, y'all don't realize Terry has been plugging. He's just like, hey, I could be the third. I could be the third.
I want to. I'm telling you.
He's trying to be a resident. DJ is the third, unofficial one, so you could be the third and a half. It don't matter.
Here's the thing. I know my spot in line. If I'm number 4, I'm cool with that. Like, just tell me where I'm at.
DJ was gonna be on, but he was out in Hawaii, you know what I'm saying, soaking up the sun or whatever.
Doing DJ got a ball head. You gotta balance it out. Like, you need somebody urban with the locks. Like, I can appeal to a different audience. Like, when you got Kev and DJ, they kind of similar in a way. You gonna get people confused. If I step in, it's a difference. I'm just saying.
But I think what helps in making a hard decision is having that like when you're stuck in something, what is the good that I'm doing here that will help me continue to do the good? And even for me, even like when I'm working, like doing the hard work with students, you know, and not seeing results immediately, like it's hard. But then when you hear, oh, Kevin, if it wasn't, you know, thank you so much for then you're like, all right, let me reload and let me come back. And I think oftentimes we don't hear enough praise in the things that we're trying to make a decision on. And so we're just reflecting on ourselves and not really seeing the big picture. And I like also, what is the goal of it? Does it make sense? What is the goal of the thing that you're into? And have you reached your goal, or where are you at that point? So is it time to quit? And then if you're not completely at your goal, what are the obstacles that you're having in order for you to overcome those things so that you can make the right decision, not just I'm tired decision, not just I'm done with this decision. Like, man, if we need to change the scene, man, I buy some paint this bookcase, add some, you know, different stuff.
You got a green screen downstairs. What you gonna paint for?
Exactly, bro. I mean, you know, but do whatever it is that you have to do to keep to the task, but make the right decision, not off of emotions. But I like I say that because sometimes I think it's emotional. You know, it's an emotional decision that we made. So it's a tough decision I gotta make. You know, do I really want to say face? Or am I willing to put myself out there and see this to the end? So that's some things that I'll take away from it, bro.
So let me say this then, right?
Say it.
It's something that y'all should keep doing and all that. But the counter side of that is how do you know maybe when it is enough, right? Not necessarily this podcast, but just a generalization of in life, I'm dealing with some stuff and I need to make a hard decision. At what point do you say, like, it's time to let that go, right? I've made my imprint. I've painted my picture here. The message has been, you know, delivered. Now it's time for me to move on. How does that work?
I think kind of what Kev was saying, like, you know, have you met your goal? You know what I'm saying? I think first is if your goal is a SMART goal, whatever it is, I think we talked about this before, strategic, measurable, attainable, realistic, time sensitive, blah, 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 blah. If you have a SMART goal, have you hit your goal yet? And if not, why not? And if you can't adjust or adapt to hit that goal, maybe it might be time for you to pivot. Yeah. I don't know what pivot means. Maybe pivot or shut down.
Pivot is a nice word, not say quit. So I like that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I think with the podcast, going to this, I know we're talking about life, but with the podcast, I know the end goal. Kevin and I have talked about the end goal. I can't tell you because people be listening on the podcast. They might try to steal it. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't got copyright yet, so we just gonna hold off. But we haven't hit the goal. You know, 52 episodes was the goal for the podcast, but that's not the goal for the reason the podcast. There's a reason behind the reason for the podcast. Yeah. That like we don't talk about. We do. You know what I'm saying? It's a conversation for dads by dads to help create more well-rounded dads. But there's a reason that we're doing this first before we go to the next step. Else, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the one that I'm going to be a part of, right?
Yeah. No. So there. Yes. there is some strategery in what we're doing. Yeah. But I think that's the same thing with anything in life, man. It's kind of like, you know, what is the goal? And have you hit that goal? And can you pivot towards that goal? But I would be interested. This is a question I want to ask people because I've never been down this path. Divorce. Because obviously the goal in marriage is not to get divorced. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So it's like when there's nobody, there's no foul play or anything like that. Like, yo, you and wifey just ain't vibing no more. Like, when do you make that decision?
I don't know. We're not putting that in the atmosphere tonight.
No. What I'm saying is, nah, man, look, she ain't going nowhere. It's cheaper to keep her. Bro, do you know how? Listen, I have zero interest in trying to find somebody else to trick and to marry me. Zero interest. I already did it once. I'm good. Like,
that's a real question,
baby?
Bro. That's a real question.
You want a Sonic Slurpee? What you need?
I like to add too, like, is it a part of the vision? Right? Is it a part of the vision? Is it a part of your personal vision of where you're trying to go? And I also think that sometimes happen in marriages too. There's probably no vision for the marriage. There's probably no, and so you see one person doing one thing and the other person is not supporting that person. Or
hey, Kev, say that again. Your Wi-Fi's trash.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
I'll jump in while his Wi-Fi is. I think what he was going for was the whole vision. They got to come together with a vision as a husband and wife. And if you don't have that vision set, then how do you know what goal or where we're going together? Because you don't see that. Is that what you was
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly what I'm saying. But even in the decisions that you make, when you've been having to make a tough decision, I think that tough decision is based off of you, who you are as an individual, and what your vision is for your life. So eventually, for me, I'm gonna have to let that other job go because it's not a part of my vision. If that makes sense, it's something that it was something that I enjoyed doing. It's something that I'm good at, but it's not a part of the vision. So since it's not a part of the vision, although I have great relationships there, I get great respect there. They trust me. I've made a name for myself there, but it's not a part of the vision. So although it's going to hurt, although I don't want to go, eventually I'm going to have to let that job go so that I can add more to me because my vision requires me to be free from that so I can do more with students, more with the community, and more with teen fathers. So I also think if you have to make a tough decision, it's a reason, like you said earlier, it's a reason why you have to make a tough decision. But is that decision a part of your vision of where you're trying to go and what you're trying to accomplish?
I like how you spend it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. You know, I'm a chop that up. That's gonna be a clip.
That was good. I like that. It was. I had it written down like you. All right, if he asks this question, here goes gonna be my.
Yo, I just be paying attention to the timestamps, and then I just go back. It's not that hard. I just be like, oh, that was a good point. But what messes me up is when I edit, all my timestamps get messed up. So I just be having to re-listen. I'll be like,
yup.
But what about you, Terry? Something you talking about you interviewing us. We're supposed to be interviewing you.
Go ahead, interview me. What's up?
No, I was just talking about you know what I'm saying? Like we kind of jumped on that with the vision. If it's not in line, I thought you had something to add on there.
I can always add, man. I would tell you when it comes to vision, especially, you know me, I come up with something. But ultimately, I tell you what, man, when we talk about visions, I'm gonna go a step back. You gotta think about your vision and almost set goals of like, how am I going to accomplish or get to that vision, right? Mm-hmm. So as I'm thinking about my long-term vision, I'm not just thinking about me and that vision, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of what baby steps am I going to take to get there, right? So it may be I'm going to be in this career field to stack my money because it's going to financially set me to where I need to be. So then I can break ties and then put that and invest that into my business or whatever else it may be. But you have to set goals in order to know what your vision is going to be. Once you then know what your vision is going to be, then you can now say, okay, these are the steps I'm going to take. And I'm not allowing anything else to get in the way of that vision, right? It may be a part of it. And kind of to go back to what you were saying, Josh, even being married and stuff like that, when you have visions or you have a marriage, at the end of the day, it's two people saying like, this is what we want, but it's also a relationship. And if y'all not talking about stuff, and you could grow apart in a sense that one person's vision is they want so much more, and the other person is like, I'm good here. And that can cause a struggle in a marriage. So I would say that's why community.
That's not a struggle right now, but that's what me and my wife had.
But you're not.
But we talk about it. We talk about it because $84,000 a month passive. That's my vision. Yeah. I don't like working. Yep. Don't enjoy it. So the goal is 80. She's like, why do we need 84,000? Because that's what I want. Because I need a house on the lake. I don't need it. I want a house on the lake. My truck I want an $80,000 truck. You want this Tahoe? I already built it. It's 95 racks. People are like, you're going to pay $95,000 for a Tahoe? Why? Because I want to. Yeah. So I need $84,000 a month passive because that's what I want to do. And she's just, her vision, her desires are not there right now. Mm-hmm. But once them checks start coming in, she's like, you know what?
Josh, have you explained why that's your vision to her? So obviously that's your vision. But have you had a conversation to say, this is why it's really important?
Yeah. Okay. So we have a lot of conversations about that. And I can say this because we talk about this all the time. My wife has a hard time figuring out what she wants and what she wants to do. That's how I'm lucky that she chose me. Because I'm like, you don't pick nothing else, you know what I'm saying? but so we talk about that, and she gets. We both come from families where we ain't had a lot, and so for her, she's just like, well, I don't need that, but I'm like, well, what do you want? Well, then she gets frustrated because then she can't figure out what she wants, and then so she just stops thinking about it. So then I'm just like, I need to put my foot on the gas so that I can generate the funds so I can get you out of the rat race because you're not going to do it yourself. And we've had that conversation. I've had this conversation. Nobody else in my family is going to do what's necessary that needs to be done to get our family, our generations out of the rat race, except for me.
Yeah.
But you just made a good point too, Josh. Y'all play different roles. Every marriage has different roles. You both can't be you. Yeah, you both cannot have that same mentality.
She had a little bit of it.
No, it's not meant for her to be like that. God brought y'all two together for a reason, and the reason was for you to be the visionary and know exactly what you want, but for her to be like, look, this is how we're gonna get there. Y'all have to play off of each other, man. So in any relationship, man, I'm not a risk taker. My wife is more of a risk taker than me. I'm more of I need to know for sure what is the next step, and she like, nope, let's just jump off the cliff. We're going to probably land in the water. I need to see the water. I need to see a slide that's going to get me down in there. Like, I need to see all of that, right?
Listen, I've been broke before. I know how to survive on being broke. She's like, we need to have a little bit in the savings. I'm like, for what? She's like, we need to have a couple months in the mortgage. For why? She's like, in case that, listen, if we can't make the payments, I'm going to call them and say, I ain't got it. What can we do? They're going to figure something out. Right? You want to take 500? Okay. Let's do 500. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom. Give me a couple months. But see, matter of fact, again, we just had this conversation, I think, last night. Yeah, we just had it last night. Because again, like you said, like you're not a risk taker. My wife's not a risk taker. But I'm like, I'll go broke betting on myself. Yeah. I would go broke betting on myself. But again, we play different roles. Mm-hmm. My wife, she's got the consistent check coming in. I'm 100% commission in sales. So like if I don't work, I don't eat. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes my check could be here and sometimes my check could be way down here. But my wife is consistent. Yeah. Yep. And so again, like you said, we play different roles. And so. Yeah.
And I think, for us in our house, the making tough decisions based off of our strictly was our vision. Yeah. My wife wanted to be a teacher. So in order for that to happen, I had to make some decisions in order to get her teacher certification. Yeah. Once we got her teacher certification, she realized she loves curriculum. So we had to make another tough decision so she can get her master's degree. Mm-hmm. And now she has her master's degree, and now the decisions were always based off of her, and her vision of reaching her goal of curriculum and instruction. And even seeing those things and getting behind her and supporting her, we can celebrate tonight her accepting the role of assistant. Hey. But we had to make
I'm ready for detention.
But we had to make a lot of tough decisions to get there. I didn't play a traditional dad role or man of the house role. Like while she was in getting her master's, I had to be available and free to take care of our kid. When she's working from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Somebody has to be there to pick up the kids. Somebody has to be there to cook the dinner. Somebody has to be there to wash the clothes. And we understood her vision for what she was doing. Now, that didn't neglect my vision, because I'm more like Terry. I'm more like your wife. I'm more like Josh. I'm like, man, I'm just going to jump. And when I jump, God go catch me. Wherever I land, God go catch me.
That scared me.
but even then, making those tough decisions based off of vision, I've had 10 years of serving over 5,000 students by myself, and pouring into these kids and being able to see these kids now got one in the NFL, got one a lot of them graduating from college, and a lot of them, have kids and families, and they can reach back and say, man, if it wasn't for Mr. Kevin, if it wasn't, and so making the tough decisions for the vision has allowed us to be able to grow our families into where we want to be and where we need it to be at that moment. And it all comes full circle. But I think when we don't make the decision is where it breaks us down. When we stall on, okay, I don't want to be a stay-at-home dad. I want to be the man of the house. I want to be, but in order for me to do that, I got to make a decision that's going to be best for my family.
Absolutely. But you made a good point too when you were saying that, because listen, thinking about, again, the word has been vision tonight, right? And our vision is way bigger than just us, right? When I think about my vision, to me, again, as a God-fearing man, God has already set my vision for me, right? So that's why I may be scared to take the leap, but I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to talk to God about it. And there are times where I say, you know what? I'm going to let God lead me to wherever, it's supposed to be. Even when I start thinking about my life in this fatherhood journey, man, and what I'm doing, through social media and all of that, it was not my intention to jump into the fatherhood space and to do it. What'd you say? I ain't hear you.
I said plug.
What I mean? At your Uncle Terry, at Dope Black Dads. But again, that's not why we're here. I'm just saying those were not, I didn't know them visions was supposed to happen, to be completely transparent with you. I did not know last year that the quarantine would change my whole mentality, right? Mm-hmm. But God had a different vision for me. Mm-hmm. God's vision was, now that you're not in the office, now that you're home, you can spend a little bit more time making an impact in the fatherhood space, right? Mm-hmm. So often, again, I share with people, I have my fraternity brothers that, oh, you a dope dad, you this, you that. But now I'm impacting people that I've never met, right? I've never seen face to face, or, you know what I mean? But I'm doing it by just sharing my journey. Yeah. So all I'm saying is to say that our vision sometimes is already predestined for us. God has already said, this is the vision I have for you, Kevin. This is the vision I have for you, Josh. Mm-hmm. This is the vision I have for you, Terry. And it's just our job to make sure that we do everything that he's asking, or we listen to him as he's telling us, so we take the right steps to get to our vision. Yeah. And it's important because, again, we may fail. To your point, Josh, you've been broke, and maybe God wants us to go through some of that stuff at times in order to build us up.
I think it adds to,
right? It adds.
You don't want to, but it adds to your vision and it adds to your fight.
Even think about my weight loss stuff, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I don't love the fact that I was 430 pounds, right? But God allowed me to lose the weight, but then now be able to tell a story with it. His vision was for me to, and he made sure I was married first and all of that, because I'm just saying, if I wasn't, God knew we need to be tied down before I let him get super sexy, because I was already regular sexy. He said, before I let him get super sexy, we just need to make sure that he's already locked up. But that was part of God's vision.
But you know what? Terry, one of the other things to add to was, even on your journey, you developed a new vision.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You developed because you had to make a tough decision to share that story.
Absolutely.
You had to make a tough decision to say, you know what? I know I'm talking about fatherhood, but I also want to talk about my journey to get here, which opened up the vision of, you talking about the weight loss and the bariatric surgeries and making it normal amongst Black people, and you know what I mean? And getting information that's needed. And I think once we start, listen, if there's a decision in your life right now that's hard for you to make, I guarantee you, if you walk in that thought, if you walk and make a decision, the outcome is going to be better than what you ever could imagine it to be. Because even though I made a decision to go into the school, I get a knock on I'm a youth pastor by heart, right? Yep. I get a knock on the door just 2 weeks later, like, hey, have you ever thought about coming back to the church and being a youth pastor? And it's like, oh yeah, yes, that's something that I'm really interested in. But at the same time, if I wouldn't have made the decision, if I would have stayed at that job, if I wouldn't have taken the step to do something different, I might not have never gotten that opportunity.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. I might not have ever gotten that. And so now your vision has changed and been able to even bless more people with that. So.
Absolutely. And that, I mean, it's tough because you don't see it. And I think that's the toughest part is if we circle all the way back to the beginning, like how do you get sometimes you don't see the end goal. Sometimes you don't see what God has already aligned for you.
Yeah.
Why, again, these tough decisions come up. And at the end of the day, God already had it set for us where we're supposed to be at, right? God made sure that not this whole pandemic thing, but like the pandemic happened for some of us to sit back and truly figure out what is our purpose, right? I tell you, so many people figured out their purpose in this last year because they had to sit down. Often we are up moving and trying to do everything, and we don't really have the time to sit down and just say, what should I be doing? What is my purpose? You know what I mean? Yeah. How can I be impactful? And I would tell you, I'm one of those people. It wasn't until last year when I had to truly sit down that I was like, you know what? I want to do something for fatherhood. I want to do something. And that's where it really started. I mean, even before the whole sharing my weight loss, it started with the fatherhood piece. And I'm like, I want to do something. And I'm going to tell you how crazy it was. It just, everything literally, it aligned. It aligned perfectly. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start an LLC. I'm going to start an Instagram. You know what? I don't care about the fathers. I'm going to put a couple of quotes out there. All right, now I'm going to honor a couple of fathers. And then to slowly build up and then make an impact and then make connections. The opportunities have opened up, not just through social media, but even just here in my own city, where I'm now part of like a fatherhood coalition. And I'm literally, connecting with other fathers in the city. We're getting ready to do another plug, Dancing with Dads, a virtual Dancing with Dads. Like,
nice.
Who would have thought that I would be, helping put together something like that? But I mean, again,
I'm gonna do that first.
No, you're not, because mine is already in the plan. Don't edit it out of this video either. No. But look, that was God's vision for me. Yeah. And I didn't see it because I felt like I always had to be busy doing stuff. So when I sat down, God was like, nope, I want you to do this, right? Yeah. So yes, you have to make tough decisions, and tough decisions are always going to come in our life as Black men, as fathers, as whenever you're working for somebody, you are always going to come into a tough decision. But I would tell you, think about what you said, Kevin. What's your vision? What is my vision? What's my purpose? What's the end goal? And then at the end of the day, sometimes you do got to take a leap of faith and being like, you know what? God probably has something bigger in store for me. I'm just going to walk down this path, and I guarantee you there's going to be some gold at the end of that rainbow.
Woo. He talking. Hey, y'all, I'm about to shut it down because I know, because here's what y'all don't know. If I don't shut it down, Terry and Kevin will literally talk for the next hour.
All day.
Absolutely.
And I'm not even joking. So that's part of the reason we was talking for 48 minutes before we got on this podcast. I was just sitting here letting them talk. I was eating the Sonic ice cream. Shout out for the plug, where my sponsorship at. But anyway.
But you should have been drinking a Premier Protein, sponsored.
Or drinking out of my fatherhood glass mug thing.
You are such a dope Black dad, LLC.
Have you ever thought about getting a mentor coach?
Hey, let me ask a question though before we get out of here.
No.
What do you do when you feel like you've made the wrong decision?
Ooh, really, really good question, right? Whew. What do you do when you made the wrong decision?
What do you do when you feel like you made the wrong decision?
Yeah, because you had to make a decision. We talked because we started off talking about making tough decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we make a decision and we're like, man, I know this is going to be the right decision. And when you get into it, you like.
I'm gonna give you the spiritual.
I like to call them
answer first. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm gonna give you the spiritual answer first. I'm gonna pray about it. I'm like, God, man, I shouldn't have did that. Like that wasn't the right. How can I get out of this? Right. I mean, and depending on what the situation is, you may be able to go and have a conversation with somebody and pull back. I mean, you may be able to make certain changes, but there's some things you can't, right? But I would say I would start with, for me, is prayer. I'm gonna throw a prayer up and be like, God, how can I get out of this one? I made a bad decision.
Yeah.
You ever
and God,
you ever pray to God to get you out of a bad decision as you on your way to go make that bad decision? You like, you know what, Lord, I don't need to be going where I'm going, but I just pray that you get me out of
this. Many college stories and nights where, God, I can't be going here tonight, but if I do go, can you make sure I just return home safely?
Like, I know this is a bad idea. I already know, Lord.
But Kevin, that was a deep question. I mean, definitely something to think about because it is. We all make bad decisions at the end of the day. But I think it's our response to those bad decisions. So I'll leave it with that. Is everybody has a response to it, and you can, work through it gracefully, or you can put your head down and be mad that you made that decision. I'll tell you, I'm gonna take the upper road and be like, okay, I made it. I'm gonna stick it out or do whatever I can, and then get through it. Yeah, and hopefully move on. But at the end of the day, I mean, we all gonna make some type of bad decisions at some point in life.
Ditto.
I concur.
Josh is ready to wrap it up. Josh, good. And thank you all for joining.
Bro, yes, I am. 2, I'm tired. 3, I realized I gotta edit this and upload it because, like I said, I'm being Kevin's neighborhood tomorrow. Like I'm gonna be able to throw a rock at his house. We're going to the zoo.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm not gonna be able to upload it. So I need to get everything done tonight.
Yeah. Well, let me do this, fellas. Before you leave, I do want to tell y'all both. I'm glad y'all kept going with the podcast, man. We joked, we had fun, we clowned tonight, man, even before we turned the camera on. And that's because y'all are 2 genuine dudes. Y'all are making an impact in this fatherhood game. I'm honored that y'all had me on here for a second time to be able to just come on and talk to y'all. It's always a good time. It's always fun, but y'all are always dropping gems and giving knowledge, man. So salute to you both. I greatly appreciate y'all, and I'm glad y'all didn't give up on this podcast, man. So
appreciate it, brother.
Oh, was that did you just close us out?
I did, man. I'm trying to show you how I could be a third host. I did that.
Yo, Kev, you got anything to say before we
No, man. I thoroughly enjoy this. I love the fact that we can come on here and be men, we can be brothers, and we can share exactly what's on our heart and our minds. And really, man, it's just genuine love on here. I love Josh to death. We vibe, we kick it. Don't try. Just
all right, my turn.
but seriously, man, I really enjoy this, and I know for a lot of us, man, we're faced with making tough decisions every day, and sometimes we're not going to make the right decision. Sometimes we're going to make the wrong decision. But even in that, we got to work through it. We got to keep at it because we don't know what's on the other end, and especially in those bad decisions that we make, good things can come out of it. And so as long as we just go ahead and put in the work, if we put in the work and we get to our vision of what we want for ourselves and what we want for our families, then it'll be even easier to make the tougher decisions that comes our way.
Pass that offering plate.
You know what I'm saying? You know what's not a tough decision? Going to tlcbrand.com. Go ahead, get your fatherhood swag, man. Hey, you see that little slide in there? Bro, Terry, did you see the insulated mugs, bro? The 22-ounce boys.
Yeah, y'all doing it. Y'all doing it, man.
For fathers, by fathers. Use the code DADLIFE, DADLIFE. Get 20% off your first order. Yo, y'all take care. Be great. And if we don't shut this down, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.